Good morning, everybody. What happened? Get in there. Do that. Victory Monday for the Lions. I'm going to get right into this. I got to find you. Get that intro video going. We got to get this thing going. Yep, it's that time. Let's get this thing rolling.
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Scotty Reno. I love that. Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Brent. Put what team that you represent into the comments. Oh, this looks good right here. Boom, let's do it. Oh, man, I still got the thing on there from Friday. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. That is me. I am your host, and we are broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News, the news podcast. Joe Chapp and the gang. We're broadcasting live there. Go give them a follow. We are broadcasting in Mike, the Bear fans spot right there. Go give them a follow. They just got over 10,000 followers, and the Bears just lost. And then there is the villain squad right here. We just got over 12,000 villains. We are rushing towards 13,000 villains. It's a good year, and it's a good day to be a Detroit Lion fan. Faith, family, football. That's how we do it here. And faith first being, I want putting a shout out to my church. We're doing the Angel Tree donations right there. If you want to help us get some gifts for some needy kids here in the Genesee County area, I put that link into the description right there. Faith, we want to make people's Christmases good, even if they don't think it's going to happen. So that way they could believe in something right there. So NTC Church, that's where I go to church at right there. And I play guitar at that church. And it is a great bunch of people to be around right there. So faith, family, and football right here. Family and football, that's what we've been doing all weekend. We've been watching good football games, spending time with our family. And you have to put it in that order. Use football to bring your family together. Don't let football use you. And Mike showing up just in time right there. Boom. My compadre. Main event Mike, man. What do you want to talk about? Let's go.
Geez.
how do you not talk about the Detroit Lions? I know it's an NFC North or a full all NFL show you run here, Russ, but I mean, the Lions are dominating the headlines on the national media stage, so we might as well start there.
Right. Well, let's go. Let me go into that. Let me get this. I want to put this thing in the background because I always forget to do my backgrounds in here. And let's get this thing done and out of the way in 3, 2, 1. It's taking forever to load. And there we go. Yeah. So we're doing the NFC North review right here. And I made this graphic, Mike. I was working on it when you were when I was talking to you earlier, but it is done right here. You wanted to start with the Lions?
Let's do it.
It's knee sport.
Knee sport. That's the blood sport. Dan Campbell matches up good with Van Dam, doesn't he?
Well, I had to play with the tan a little bit. Van Dam was a little more tan, and so was
Sean Payton.
So definitely had to work on Sean Payton. Sean Payton is definitely not that tan.
Look how Sean Payton's he's going, oh, perfectly. And Dan's going, yeah. I love it. Hey, and that's definitely one of the storylines of this game, right? Dan Campbell against his old mentor, and he said earlier before the game, earlier in the week, he said that make no mistake, Sean Payton is coming in here to try to embarrass us, and I think Dan Campbell put an exclamation point on it on that last touchdown on 4th and 2. Could have easily kicked a field goal and made it 38-17. Game completely out of reach with less than 2 minutes left. But instead, on 4th and 2, he goes to the end zone, puts his foot on the opponent's throat, and that was a statement back to his old mentor. Look what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was so proud of the way that that the game was coached. And that the way that the players had played, I thought that the defense was getting a little bit better last week as far as like figuring out there were still some holes. There was definitely still some problems, but putting Ifeatu Melifonwu into that safety position, and then Dorsey came up and played very well at the cornerback position. I'm just giving you a little spoiler alert for tomorrow's episode of the PFF, but our highest graded defenders were cornerbacks yesterday. And I'm excited to be able to talk about that. But Ifeatu Melifonwu, I want to put a shout out to, and Josh Paschal. Holy crap. You got Nolan McNeil. You put Josh Paschal right in there. He was taking some snaps from the 3 technique, got some sacks, got tackles for loss. What an outstanding defensive performance in this game. I wanted to put a shout out to that first because I know that everyone wants to talk about, all the touchdown passes and everything like that. But shout out to the Detroit Lions defense for a good performance and a bounce back performance after all the Aaron Glenn hate over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Last week they played John Kaminsky in the middle, and he did a fine job. But you're right, Josh Paschal on Saturday. He didn't show up huge in the box score, only 3 tackles total, but 2 of them, one was a sack and one was a tackle for loss. And the Lions did hold to Denver to only 80 yards rushing. Okay. In fact, Russell Wilson only 6 yards rushing on 7 attempts. So Russell Wilson, 18 of 32. That's not good, folks. A quarterback rating of 88.4. He had 1 touchdown and no interceptions for 223 yards. So totally, the Lions allowed just a smidge over 300 yards. And if you're playing defense at that level, you're going to win a lot of games in the NFL.
Yep.
At 42 points from the offense, they came alive. Now, I was a little worried at the beginning, Russ. I don't know about you. Had a little PTSOL creeping in on the first couple of series.
For sure.
Get across the 50, you get to midfield, sputter, punt, and I just felt like, it's Thanksgiving all over again. But at least we're not turning the ball over. In fact, the Lions 0 turnovers in the game. They did actually have a +1 because we had a fumble recovery that was huge in the game. Stars for the Lions. I'll finish the box score and then we'll just run with it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So Jared Goff, I'll pass a rating of, wait for it, 134.6. Jared Goff, 24 of 34. That's so better than the league average, folks, for 278 yards and 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Just an outstanding performance. He's going to be my nominee for Lion of the Week on Wednesday. Jahmyr Gibbs, 100 yards on 11 carries. That's a 9.1 yard average with a touchdown. David Montgomery, very respectable, 17 carries, 85 yards. That's a 5 yard per carry average. We were killing them with the run. Total rush for the Lions, 185 yards. Denver Broncos, they are who we thought they were, Denny Green, a soft run defense. And we just pounded it. And it's just the formula for every team everywhere since the beginning of time. One begets the other. You soften them up with the run. That creates play action, which opens up the pass, right? And the Lions played that perfectly. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a stellar bounce-back game, as we both predicted after last week with 3 drops. He was 7 catches on 9 targets, 112 yards and a touchdown. And how about the rookie Sam Laporta? I know this is a guy you might be nominating for Lion of the Week on Wednesday. 5 catches, 56 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with some other parts of the StreamYard right here, but I wanted to see if I could bring up this graphic for you right there. If I can find it, yeah, maybe I can do this. All right, let's see if that comes up. Does that come up?
It does.
All right, let's look at that. Let me see if I can get this like a little bit closer. Looking at this thing. Yeah. Now, sorry, guys.
That Jared Goff stat line, right there, 24, 34, 278. You could take out the 5 TDs and just put 3 TDs, 1 interception, and that's a typical Jared Goff stat line. But 0 interceptions and 5 touchdowns, that's the difference between Jared Goff last week and the 2 weeks prior to that. Not turning the football over. When this team doesn't turn the football over, they can beat anyone. They win when they don't turn the football over.
Oh,
a couple other storylines. If you're still getting your stuff together, go ahead.
I back it up a little bit. Back it up. Let's begin. Yeah, you stick with the rap right there.
Back it up.
All right, so you can see all this. What I'm doing right here. This is really, really cool. I think right here. Okay, so there you got Jared Goff. I made a cool graphic for it right there. You had just touched on that, right? Are you guys seeing that?
I'm seeing
it. Look. Okay. And now, and then I can move up to. We'll save that one for tonight. And then right there, best running back duo in the NFL, Montgomery and Gibbs, week 15, total together, 185 yards with 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me, Mike?
Right. And I can say that with confidence too, Russ. Best running back duo in the NFL, not just in the North. When this season began, we were having discussions with Packer fans, and we had to concede that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones were the best running back duo in the division. And we put an asterisk next to that and said, right now, at this point, they're the best. Before the season started, they were the best running back duo in this division. It now 14, 15 games in, we see the Lions not only have the best running back duo in the division, but in the entire NFL. If there's a better running back duo in the league, let me know.
Raheem put that in there.
And Devin Achane, that might be the only one that I would even accept as an argument.
Yeah, and that's a valid argument with that one. This isn't just for us we're not just trying to beat our chest right here. This is actually surprising when you think about it. It's like we didn't expect it to be as good as it is. And, I did put something up today with the Dan Campbell quote. I mean, and he kind of took a shot back at the media about, him picking, Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs in there. And I wanted to put this back up. I'm not going to do the share screens anymore. I'm just going to put them in pictures right there. But that is an impressive performance. And this duo is in danger of eclipsing that 2 running backs having 1,000-yard seasons. And if they can accomplish that over the next 3 weeks, that would be awesome to me.
Right. I think Gibbs is an upgrade of DeAndre Swift. I don't think it's even a question that Monty's an upgrade from Jamal Williams. So kudos to Brad Holmes, still doing it, man. And what was it Dan Campbell said about that? Yeah, we took a lot of shit for them picks.
Yeah, let me go get the exact.
We took a lot of shit for them picks, but turned out all right, huh?
Yeah, so took a lot of criticism. He didn't say shit. But,
he didn't. Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to bite the kneecap off.
Yeah.
Another storyline of this game, Russ. Jamison Williams gets 7 targets, the most targets he's ever had. He had 4 catches for 47 yards. Gotta love that. Lions only 2 sacks, but they were pressuring Russell Wilson all day. He's a very tough guy to sack traditionally, but they've given up a lot of sacks in Denver. We were only able to get there 2 times. It is a bit disappointing. We would have liked to see more sacks than that, but still, how do you say anything negative about the defense the way they played for 3 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, if I can look even further into that, there's a couple of names that if you're a Lions fan, you're going to be happy to hear that one of our top 5 defender was none other than Levi Onwuzurike. And one of our top 10 defenders was 1 third-round draft pick, Broderick Martin, who was out there for 11 snaps, played well.
That'll be tomorrow, PFF Tuesday. I was so interested to see what Broderick Martin's PFF grade will be.
Yep, and it was good. There were 14 players that graded where you want them to grade. So even into the depth was playing very well right there. So there it is, man.
Right. 42-17, Lions beat Denver. They go to 10-4. Their magic number is now 1 to win the division. We get Minnesota next week at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. So going to be a great game. I really am anxious.
Did you say Minnesota?
I am.
Oh, you mean the Minnesota?
Right, the one I haven't got the box score for.
Oh, man, I messed up I put a 27 in there. Let me. Yeah, you got the box score ready? We both screwed this one up. Damn you. How are you going to screw that up? I'm the one
that cut me off. I was about to segue, but I'm really interested to talk about this Green Bay loss.
Oh, you want to talk about the Green Bay loss? Well, there you go. That's a better segue because I'm actually ready for that one. How about that?
There you go. The Tampa Bay Baker Mayfields beat the Green Bay Packers 34-20. Baker Mayfield looked like the reincarnation of Tom Brady. 22 of 28. Woo! That's a good completion percentage. And in those 22, only 22 completions, but he racks up 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, a passer rating of 158.3. Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
They rushed for 100 yards as well. Chris Godwin, a huge game back, coming back from injury, 10 catches, 155 yards. And you can't put this one on Joe Barry, guys. I realize that Baker tore you up with those stats, but Green Bay the pass rush was getting there, man. They had 5 sacks in this game.
Right.
Jordan Love in the box score, it looks good. 29 of 39, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a passer rating of 111.5. Okay, that's pretty good. And I watched a good portion of this game, and same thing, Lions fans. You're going to be dealing with Jordan Love. Okay, if you're out there for Packer fans, we concede. Okay, Jordan Love's the real deal. He's going to look good. He looks good. He looks smooth. The arm angles, all of it. You guys are going to be fine moving forward with this guy under center.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, the Jordan Love thing bothers me because just when you're watching him and you're just wanting to be like, God, that was, I mean, he's doing some amazing stuff. Then he does something where you're like, he does some head scratching stuff too. So it's like, maybe that's just him being inexperienced and that's going to get worked out over the next couple of years, but this isn't a developmental quarterback anymore, guys. The guy's been sitting behind, an all-pro for 4 years, and now he's playing. So the whole new quarterback thing doesn't, you can't use that excuse. So, but he's playing good when it comes down to the stats, but it's like, I look like Patrick Mahomes for 5 plays, and then I look like the worst quarterback ever. Ryan Leaf for 5 plays. And
I mean, you look at the holes on this team though, Russ, the skill positions are down. They're good. This Dontavian Wicks, he's a real dude.
Right.
Okay, 6 catches, 97 yards. Jaden Reed looks like a great pick for a slot receiver. Maybe in a couple of years be one of the best slot receivers in this entire league from the way it looks. He had 6 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. And then you take in Romeo Dobbs, a solid wide receiver 2 in this league. I 100% believe that. They drafted 2 tight ends last year that both of them look pretty good, Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. And then you've got Christian Watson, ye of the soft hamstring, who is a bona fide X-receiver with speed and catches over the top. He's long. I mean, they got all the pieces there. I think the only holes here, they're going to have to revamp the offensive line, right? And they need a stud running back. Aaron Jones is dwindling. He's diminishing. A.J. Dillon also. These aren't the guys moving forward, I don't think. I mean, we're seeing the end of that. So on offense, they're looking good. I see in the draft and free agency, they're gonna revamp both lines. They got to get some secondary help. And definitely offensive line. This team is going to be for real. They're going to be contending for a division title the youngest team. They are going to be contending for a division title for the rest of the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and the thing is like they will have to make decisions here with Jordan Love over the next year too. I mean, if he is this real deal, then let's ask those Green Bay fans out there, are you prepared to pay Jordan Love $50 million a year starting maybe even as early as this offseason? Are you willing, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, do you commit to Jordan Love for the long term? Do you agree with Main Event Mike? Is the search is over? Is Love going to be hurting the rest of the division for the next 10 years? Do you want to bet on him? Or are you still throwing your hands up? You got these extra draft picks. Are you still not totally sold? So that's a great question for Packer fans out there. So
did you just bust a little Survivor reference there? The search is over.
Yeah.
Love was decent all the time.
Yeah, but really, doon 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 doon
the Green Bay Packers suck. The Green Bay
Packers suck.
And the Vikings do too, and so do the Bears, but Green Bay really sucks.
You like that?
Hey, we're going to roast Love too. The Green Bay Packers suck.
Ow! You better plug the show for tonight.
That's it. That's what you're going to hear tonight. NFC North Open Mic Night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday night. Lions only team to win in the division this week, so we're going to bring the heat. I'm sure there won't be any Packer fans in there, but that'll just be more fun when we run them through the mud. Packer fans, Viking fans, Bear fans, Lions fans, every Monday night. Be there tonight. It's going to be a fun one. I feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Russ, this Lions game, I had a gig, so I had to go on stage at halftime, which sucked. But I got off stage just as they were scoring the last touchdown, the Lions. So I had to go back yesterday and rewatch the rest of the stuff that I missed. Tell me, and even in the rewatch, I missed it. Did the Lions, what they do on the opening drive of the second half? Do you remember? Third quarter, first drive for the Lions. No,
I think they moved the ball, but they got stopped. I mean, okay. I think that trend continues.
Okay.
But yeah. And it was that typical thing that happened in there. And I know you and I have been arguing about that call. That doesn't really matter in the 42-17 thing, but there always seems to be a third quarter drive for the opposition that has a lot of like penalties and maybe questionable calls. Looking back through it, you can definitely call that a pass interference, and they called it a pass interference. And but outside of that, the defense just played stellar. Outside of that, Twilight Zone third quarter that they're used to. Bear Down Mike coming in and says, congrats. I'm going to get to these comments a little bit here. Okay, yeah, because we're at 25. We got a few. We got
Thanks, Mike.
But congrats on the W. See, Bear Down Mike is in here no matter what. I think that he's the greatest Chicago Bear fan alive right now because he was here when they were over, and he's been supporting them all the way through. And, sir, you deserve to have a good team as this thing shakes out and you're at, pick one and whatever. You're going to have 2 top 10 picks. This Bears team, this is a dangerous Bears team that's coming up too. That's young, just like the Green Bay Packers are young, just like the Detroit Lions are young. That these are teams that you're going to be contending with over the next 3 years. It's the black and blue division again, guys.
Yep. Look at Jeffrey's comment here. The entire division will be strong in 2 to 3 years. It will be the North and everyone else.
To you, Jeffrey Addison, my Detroit Lions compadre.
I think that's a great take. We're already seeing it now. Some of these divisions, the NFC South is trash. Lions run the table on that division.
Here's good. Rob Newsom in there saying defense showed up. Offensive line was healthy. So Goff took care of the ball. No turnovers on a team that was getting turnovers at a historical pace. 5 TDs by 2 rookies. Great win for the Lions. Love that call right there. Thank you for the comment right there. It's like the Lions don't just win, they dominate. They do. And I agree with that 100%. When they don't turn the damn ball over and keep the other team in, they are one of the best teams in the NFL, but they gotta not beat themselves. That's going to be the story when they do lose games. It's always the story. Oh, wow, they turned the ball over. I can't take care of the ball. Oh, it's all Aaron Glenn. Those guys are real quiet this week.
Can I pull a comment up? I got a good one right here.
Go ahead. Yes.
Look at this from the Frozen Tundra Network. How do you all feel seeing the Lions win their first NFC North title? If you guys start winning them often, they will get kind of meh after a while. Wow. Say I have a sense of entitlement without saying I have a sense of entitlement.
Wow.
Thank you for the comment, but I'll be honest with you there, Frozen Tundra. We are going to hold off on that because we got to play the Vikings twice, and they are not a joke. Brian Flores and this defense is not a joke. And the Cincinnati Bengals found that out on Saturday, that this team is not a joke. Minnesota leading the whole game. They were winning. They deserved to win that game. Jake Browning got lucky, and we are going to hold off on that comment, Frozen Tundra. Let's wait until next week, and let's ask that question. Until that clinch is made, until that NFC North title is ours, I don't even want to look ahead and comment it. And I know Russ doesn't either. We like tonight, when the Seahawks play the Eagles, we could clinch a playoff spot. We could be a wild card team. That will be a nice feeling. We will definitely talk about that tomorrow if that happens. But we're not going to talk about that NFC North title until it's actually in the bag. So hopefully you'll come back and we can talk about that, Frozen Tundra.
I want to talk about this too, because this is where everybody's at after a Lions win right here. And we don't handle it like this. This is not cocky. This is coming in after you destroyed your opponent this week.
The hottest team in the league, by the way.
The hottest team in the league took them right out with 3 games left. We have a 3-game lead in the division. It is not cocky to point that out because that is a fact. It is cocky for Minnesota Viking fan or Green Bay Packer fan or Chicago Bear fan as of last week to consider the fact that they would win out and the Lions would lose out. Now that's cocky. Now, for the Lions...
Now, that's a scathing take by Russ Wayne today.
Because, you should really think about that because we've been taking shit for the last couple of weeks on wins like we lost. Mm-hmm. When you really look at it, even during our downtime, we were 4-2. During the downtime, of this team. This team just did something this week where it looks like the defense turned a corner with young players. It happens all the time. Green Bay Packers, think about it. Think about it. You have a lot of young players that are starting to come out and develop. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? It felt pretty good for you for a couple weeks while you're in here. So when that's a cocky take. For me to think that I can win one of 3 games to clinch the division and to win the first NFC North title ever in the history of the Lions organization, because it was called the Central when they won it the last time. They have never won the NFC North. For me to think that this team, the way that it's playing, can win 1 out of 3 games. That's cocky? I mean, really, tell me. If it is, I'll stand down. I'm just pointing out the facts here. And here's the facts is the Packers got truck sticked and really got thrown right out of the playoff mix right here. I mean, all these Packer fans were talking all kinds of smack like they were going to come back, and they're done now. You're done. Maybe you'll get to the playoffs. Maybe you'll get to the playoffs and then you'll get your revenge. We'll talk about that then. But one thing I want to caution Lion fan to do, not do, is to get scared about this Minnesota game. This is what we breathe for. This is what we've been waiting for. Meaningful games in December where you got an opportunity to go to Minneapolis and win your first NFC North title ever. Cocky? I mean, I think they should win the game. We have an established quarterback. The defense is coming alive, and we got an offense that appears to be unstoppable. As long as we have all of our healthy pieces and we have our offensive line, this offense seems to be unstoppable right now. Stop it. Then stop it. So there we go. We got the Bucks truck sticking the Packers. We got the Bengals beat the Vikings. What did we leave out, Mike? Did we leave out anything?
We left out Cincinnati, but we didn't. Or we left out Minnesota and Cincinnati. We only touched on it for a minute. Every Monday we like to read the box scores and talk about it. I noticed, Sarah, we got some other Viking fans in there too, so we should probably get on that before we jump to Chicago.
Okay, go ahead and talk about
great,
this game.
But honestly, while you were right there talking, I was reading. We got some great comments in here. It's just we got a hard stop today in about 10 or 15 minutes, right? So
right.
I want to get through this stuff, and it just doesn't look like we're going to be able to get to some of the comments. But thank you everyone for commenting. Let's pay the bills right quick. If you're not already, please follow the Lions Villain Squad on Facebook. That's our page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Main Event 365. And don't forget, you are watching Football Talk with Russell Wayne every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Tuesdays, PFF Tuesdays. Wednesdays is All Lions Talk Wednesday. It's Good Energy Thursday and Prediction Friday. Join us each and every day, 6 days a week, right here on Facebook Live. Oh, also, there's 18 days left until Christmas, 12 days left or however damn many days are left to Christmas. There's still got some NFL fans on your Christmas list. You can follow our link and get 25% off and get NFLshop.com, NFL gear. We also are an affiliate marketing partner of WWE Shop, and that is where you can get that awesome looking championship belt by the Detroit Lions.
Ooh,
Now let's talk about Minnesota, Cincinnati. Cincinnati pulls one out in overtime, 27-24. Backup quarterback Jake Browning continues his ascent and keep a pulse going for the Cincinnati Bengals and keep my Super Bowl prediction alive. I know it'll never happen, but it's nice to still be in the mix. 29 of 42 for Jake Browning, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He threw the ball, folks, 42 times against a Brian Flores defense. Trust me, he is very sore today, okay? Because he took some punishment. He threw 1 touchdown pass literally 2 inches from the ground. His butt was 2 inches from the ground, and Jamar Chase made an incredible catch. And I just want to talk about T. Higgins for a minute. This guy, I never was really too big on T. Higgins. He made a believer out of me. What a catch to reach behind him. Put it in the comments if you think that was just an incredible catch. Minnesota Vikings, they played good enough to win this game, damn it. They were way ahead. They were ahead by 2 touchdowns. Nick Mullins looked good. Listen to this Caprice percentage, Russ. 26 of 33 for 303 yards. He had 100 passer rating, 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. He's a young player. He's an inexperienced player, I should say. He doesn't have a lot of reps in this league, and I think it kind of showed, but he did show some flashes to me. This is a more Kirk Cousins-like quarterback than Josh Dobbs, right? No?
I look at this quarterback and I look at him just exactly the same way Josh Dobbs is, where like he made some plays in that game, but there were a couple of times where the team's bearing down on the Bengals were bearing down on him. He just takes a couple step back and was like, there you go, throw it up in the air. And then he had some players that made some plays. So I think that Jake Browning did get lucky on him doing that, but Nick Mullins was doing the same damn thing. They were getting to him on defense and he's just chucking the ball up in the air, and Addison being awesome and all these guys awesome. Just catching everything that's thrown at him or anything that's near it. So I think that
Jordan Addison is the real deal.
But you can't maintain that. You can't maintain that. A defense is going to see that, and like I think the Lions could be in a spot to really take advantage of that turnover. That's a definite advantage. Lions is quarterback play when it comes into this game next week. But no, you needed that game, Vikings.
Yeah.
God, we were sitting here being real nervous, and even with a win, if you guys would win, you guys would still have your destiny in your hand, but you don't. Because you lost to the Bengals and a backup quarterback that you should have beat this team. You should have beat this team. You can look back at this game if you don't make the playoffs at that game.
Ty Chandler, the running back they've needed all year, shows up in Cincinnati. Of course, Cincinnati, a terrible run defense, and the Vikings exploited that. Ty Chandler, 132 yards. He also had 25 yards receiving. And like we said, Jordan Addison's a stud. Justin Jefferson's probably the best in the league. They each had 6-7 catches over like 111 and 84 yards respectively. TJ Hawkins, Jordan Addison had 2 touchdowns. So absolutely to your point, Russ. Beautiful. And then, Cincinnati only rushed for 80 yards. The Vikings defense held them under 100 yards rushing.
I'm trying to get once again, I did not make a good graphic here for these Bears. So I am getting something up here.
Good. Let's talk about the Bears.
You want to talk Bears?
Let's talk about the Bears. I'll tell you, well, go ahead, Russ.
Just give me a second. But go ahead and get in there.
I was seeing in the chats yesterday afternoon when the Bears game was over was get rid of Darnell Mooney, get rid of Luke Getsy. Okay. Not one word about your quarterback going 19 of 40. Okay. That's below 50% again, Bear fans. Come on. Do you have Stockholm syndrome? Quarterback play is everything in this league.
Correct.
If you haven't noticed that or learned that by now in all these years of all the shit quarterbacks you've had, 19 of 40 for 166 yards. He had 40 pass attempts and threw for less than 200 yards. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, a 46.5. It's just not consistent enough. It's not good enough, Bear fans. You can't blame Luke Getsy for that. Good quarterbacks would still have a better stat line than that. He's incredible. Don't get me wrong. Justin Fields is dangerous. There's something in the NFL for him. But a 40 attempts per game to win a game is not it.
He's dangerous, but he's not dangerous to win the game for you. Now, they did just beat us, so this is me talking out my ass, I guess, to every Bear fan. But in the game that you beat us, you get out ahead, and if there's not pressure on Justin Fields to deliver, then he's awesome. You want to talk about a guy that's dynamic, that can make plays, run 70-yard touchdowns. It's electrifying. But here's the thing, is you can't count on it at the end of the game when the defense is keying on you. You can't count on that. Justin Fields, in the big moments where it's counting, where the game's on him to win it, he fails in that spot. Maybe it's just the defense is keying in on him.
Look, that's one of the best defenses in the league he was facing, in all fairness.
Sure. But it's happened before too. Even go back to last year when they had us in Soldier Field, where they had us dead to rights right there. And then right there in Soldier Field this year too, where they had us dead to rights, and him in the biggest moments, like a deer in headlights. Oh, fumble the ball, safety. Like that's the biggest moment. That's the most important moments. God, do all the sexy stuff for the 3 quarters in 10 minutes. That's awesome that you can run away. But in the biggest moments, that's when you want your quarterback to be cold as ice, close the game out. That's what he needs to learn. If he learns that, he could be one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the league. If he can learn that.
But this is the 3rd year. At what point do you just,
well, they have to make a decision now. You had 2 top 5 picks probably, and an opportunity to draft a generational talent at QB. Think about it. Are you gonna pass up CJ Stroud again?
Patrick Mahomes
again? Like, do you really like Fields that much? That's a great question. There you go. Bear down, Mike. Where you at?
You keep Fields on this team as long as you can for as cheap as you can. That's the answer. Ryan Poles has to draft a quarterback. I feel like they have to.
Vikings and Packers have to win out and Lions lose out for them to have. The Packers have no chance to win the division at this point. They cannot win the division. There's only 3 games left, and they're down by 4 games. They are done fighting for the division for this year. 0 chance for the Packers. None. So if the Vikings win out and the Lions lose out, yes, they would catch us and they would win the division. They still have a shot. We have not clinched this division. Are you guys going to talk about the drop passes? I'll talk about the Darnell Mooney drop pass that could
win the game.
Win the damn game.
God, that was brutal.
That was brutal.
Detroit fan man even says, he felt for him too. The Bears
hurt.
That loss hurt his own feelings. It reminded me of so many Lions losses. Brutal. Now go beat the Pack in week 18. What a great take. But
wow.
Yeah, I felt for you there too. Darnell Mooney. And when you watch the replay of it, it's almost like, how did you drop that?
It almost fell on you.
Like you were trying to get rid of it. It fell. It fell on you.
Like, man, he had the juice, man. Look how close that is too. I just spent some time saying, Fields doesn't do the big moment right there. That dude on that play, think about how close that is. If Darnell Mooney catches that pass, the Bears win. Fields is a superhero. And then all of a sudden I'm on here on Victory Monday for the Bears going, wow, that Justin Fields rolled out of the pocket. What a great throw that he lofted it up in the air, made it a catchable pass. And now the Bears, that it's that close. That's why they want to run Darnell Mooney out of town. Because it doesn't matter. You could have 10, 100-yard games in a row. It don't matter. If you drop those passes, that's the pass. I don't give a shit about any of the other passes. Don't catch any of the other ones. Catch that one. Please.
For sure.
That's what I'd be saying.
For sure. And you got to give it to Kevin Stefanski too. They lose Nick Chubb, arguably the best running back in the league at the beginning of the season. They're on quarterback number 4, the corpse of Joe Flacco. Are you kidding? Joe Flacco had 42 pass attempts. His arm's probably going to fall off. but that defense is keeping them alive. They are 9-5, folks. Number 5, they're the 5 seed in the playoff hunt in the AFC. And man, what a credit to Stefanski and Jim Schwartz getting that defense going over there. But bear down, Mike, in all fairness, I'm not going to talk about the drops because I didn't watch the game. All I watched was the highlights where they don't show drop passes. So if you can highlight it, enlighten us in the comments, please do. I mean, were there a lot of drops? Am I being too hard on Justin Fields? That's very possible. It's easy to go and look at a box score, right? And look at a completion percentage and rip a guy. However, in all fairness to me, this stat line for Justin Fields is the norm. It's not the exception. When he has a good game, and he has a completion percentage over 65, that's the exception for Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to preach that right there. Brent was coming after me for the last time that they were singing Another One Bites the Dust, Russ. Last time that happened is when Billy Sims played and they lost a bunch of games. But we have to correct you. We weren't singing Another One Bites the Dust, were we, Mike?
We were not. We were.
Dude, the Green Bay Packers
suck.
Yeah, we got a delay on each other.
That's like saying Ice Ice Baby is under pressure. No. Sorry,
yeah,
it's not true.
Yeah.
And by the way, song. Also, in that song came out in 83 when the Lions were undefeated at home.
Oh, man.
That was our mantra. That's when that song was being used by the Lions. But love the comment, Brent. Call Russ out every damn time.
Oh, you left out the part where Fields is proving for the millionth time that he is a bum.
It's my quarterback.
Oh, man.
I'm pretty sure that's Nick because Bill can't spell millionth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please. And please call me out, Brent. I appreciate you calling me out right there because I do get cocky. Because, we were talking about this last week where we had these different kind of fans. Let me get my picture up. Is it this one? Oh, no, that was PFF. Where's that other one at? Where I gotta find it. Oh gosh, there's no way I deleted it off of here. Oh, here we go. There we go. Which one are you, Lion fan? I mean, I think I'm, over on the left-hand side with Bart Simpson. I'm just the diehard fan. I apologize for this. Here's the guy on the left, right? Let's do these voices, Mike. The guy on the left is like, oh my gosh. Oh, the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl again this year. I mean, not again, but they're going to win it this year. And I think they're going, what do I even do? I don't even know. They were playing so good. And I mean, all these draft picks are going to be all pros. And I'm feeling really, really good about it. The guy in the middle, it's 1957. 1957, same old Lions.
So what if you win the division?
Yeah, sell the team.
As long as the Fords own the team, you won't win the Super Bowl. So it doesn't
never win it. Let's just move that goalpost. It's like every win that we had this year. Oh, that wasn't a good team. We'll see when you beat a good team.
Yeah.
Next week they win. Yeah, we'll see what happens when you beat a good team. And you keep moving the goalpost all the way until we get into the playoffs. And
right.
if we
and in the same breath, they say they're a Lions fan.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're anti. And then I could fix it guy. Here's I could fix it guy today, Mike. I could fix it guy today. He's like, you see, Aaron Glenn, this is what I've been saying all along, is that you should do stuff that is good for the defense and call plays that work on defense. If you would have just listened to me on the previous losses, then we wouldn't be here now, would we? I will continue to watch these games from my couch, and I will instruct the team from my couch. I'm so glad that you listened to my voice message, Aaron Glenn, and you are listening to me on how to coach this defense. You are now blitzing more, like I said you should do. There's Fix It Guy today. He ain't going to admit that he was wrong. He ain't going to admit that he wrongly criticized Aaron Glenn before he could develop these young players. No. He did not wrongly accuse. He is now simply doing what I have instructed him to do.
Worst division win ever.
Worst division win ever. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. He complains that the comic book guy comes out after the loss, where we can go in afterwards and say, here's all of the things that I have seen on Monday on how they could have corrected. You see that pass right there that he threw for the interception? He could have simply not thrown that pass, and then it wouldn't have been an interception. Gosh, they would only listen to me.
Chicago Bears, here's a stat I just happened to look at. Chicago Bears on third down, 4 of 18 on third down. Their fourth down, they were 0-2. So, I mean, you're looking at a story right there. That's the defense shutting you down and getting off the field. That's what good defenses do. And Cleveland just outmatched them. I think Cleveland's defense must have just been too much for the Bears. It's hard. It's hard when you don't watch the game. Do you watch this game though? Didn't you? You told me you watched this game.
Absolutely, yeah. This was a great. I mean, if you like good, gritty defensive battles. And that's another thing you can't really blame Justin Fields on. Sometimes you get in these ugly games where the defense just kind of is in control on both sides. Like Chicago's defense was definitely in control of that game. Flacco even said after the game was over, he was like, I don't know what you're talking to me for. I had a shitty game. The defense bailed my ass out. Like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, he didn't say all that. Right. But yes, we have covered all these games. And I'm on this hard stop, Mike. Let's because I gotta get out of here. Can you plug the show so I can get these guys out of here?
You're watching Football Talk with Russell Wayne every weekday morning at 11 a.m. And then don't forget tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, it's NFC North Open Mic Night with the King of Sting, main event Mike. And we're going to be in there tonight, 7 p.m. I can't wait. It's going to be a great show tonight. And don't forget, God bless you.
All right. That's main event Mike, man. Don't miss it tonight, okay? You got an opportunity to come in here, run your mouth, and we'll even make it more like a therapy session tonight because I know that the other teams, we're not gonna be too hard on you, but we really want you to have an opportunity to come on and talk about your game, talk about your team, and what you feel on there. Jeffrey says the season has been fun for us. This season has been fun for us. Longtime fans. However, these Lions fans that you described that take the fun make me sick to my stomach. Yeah, because it's just been that way. We're one of the maybe the only fan base that actually has their fan base broken into 3 different categories where you just have an anti-Lion fan, then you have the Lions fans, and then you have the guys that overanalyze everything. And usually you just have, fans and anti-fans just arguing with each other in a fan base. But we have this extra dimension of like soothsayers that are like whatever. They're trying to figure out some kind of like other reason that is maybe like spiritual that gets in the way of us winning. And that's ridiculous. Come on, guys.
47 people watching. 22 likes only. Please like or heart or emoji. Give us an emoji, would you?
Give us an emoji.
Reach down and just click like on wherever you're watching. We like to see we would like to think that if you're watching, you like it. So just click like. And if you don't like it, click like anyway.
Lions winning 42-17. And we appreciate everybody on this. Faith, family, football. That's the motto here. And it's in that order. I'm putting a shout out to my church, NTC. That's faith right there. My church is so awesome. I love these guys. Like they gave away 400 turkeys for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. They're buying toys for needy kids. So that link is in the description as well. NTC Give. If you don't have anything to give to, be nice to somebody else. This is a hard time of year for people that don't have, that they don't think anybody loves on them, right? So this is a good thing that they're doing right there. So faith, family, in football. Make sure that when you go out and you're watching these games, that you're using football to spend time with your family. Use football to spend time with your family. Don't let football use you. And join us each and every morning for Football Talk with Russell Wayne. And yes.
My conference call got canceled.
Oh, so Mike will be back here in the last call spot here for a second. You want to talk, Adam, while I
sure
move to my phone?
Sure.
Awesome, man. That's cool. All right.
Frozen Tundra Network. I was asking if Justin Fields, since I didn't see the game, did they drop a lot of passes or whatever? We get an answer to that question now. No, Fields was missing easy passes all game and threw the ball in the defense's hands all game. Oh, man. Kept trying to take off running, and it wasn't working. Kept holding the ball too long again and getting sacked. Thank you for clarifying this stat line, this atrocious stat line by Justin Fields. They got to draft a quarterback, right? Like Russ said, you can't, Bear fans, you cannot afford to miss the next generational guy. You moved up to get Justin Fields and you missed. He's not the next generational guy. I don't know who the next generational guy is, but they don't pay me millions of dollars either to figure that out. Missed on C.J. Stroud. A lot of people did. Carolina Panthers did. A lot of people who said Bryce Young should be number one did. So far, that's turned out to be way, way, way wrong. C.J. Stroud. And look, is it that big of a surprise? Look at C.J. Stroud. He's tall. He's got a great release. He sees the field. He's mobile. He's accurate. He's a great deep ball thrower. Is anybody really surprised that this guy is doing this? No. The only one who's surprised, I guess I'm saying that wrong. When you look at it now, it's not surprising. All of these things that we knew he had are translating to great traits for an NFL quarterback. And the Bears miffed. They whiffed on that. You missed him. You missed Patrick Mahomes like 31 other teams missed on Patrick Mahomes. So don't beat yourself up over that. I know you guys hate hearing about that. You guys hate hearing about Patrick Mahomes not being a Bear more than we all hate hearing about 1985 for one more time. Every time you do.
Or 1957, Mike.
Yeah.
That's another one of those.
Ryan Poles has got to draft a quarterback to save his own legacy, in my opinion. He didn't hire Eberflus. He didn't draft Justin Fields. How can you measure the team's success on Ryan Poles when you've still got Justin Fields at quarterback? I know Marvin Harrison Jr. sounds great, but like Bear Down Mike said in the comments, if Carolina wins another game or two, you aren't going to get that first pick. You better take the 2 picks this time. I was an advocate for trading like you did last year. You got DJ Moore and a nice haul for that first pick. That was great. And I was an advocate for doing it again because you have too many holes on this team. But that was before Montez Sweat was signed. That was before Jalen Jackson has showed out and said he will re-sign with Chicago if the price is right. So you've got to take a quarterback with one of those picks. I don't care if it's Drake May, it's Michael Penix. Get somebody to tell you who the next generational guy is. If Ryan Poles isn't the guy to ask, get someone who is and get that quarterback for the future. As a Lions fan, I hope you keep Justin Fields and don't draft a quarterback, honestly. I feel like, yeah, he's sizzling talent, but he's never going to be the quarterback that takes you to the promised land. He's RG3. He's going to get hurt because he runs too much. He's going to get blasted. And you're going to be playing your backup every year. You already did it this year. Draft guys on the line that can keep your quarterback clean and draft a quarterback that can pick you apart from the pocket. That's what the NFL is. I know this running quarterback thing is sexy right now, but until one actually wins a Super Bowl, I won't be convinced. Not me. You can be. I'm not going to be. Lamar Jackson might do it this year. Patrick Mahomes, by the way, is not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run. Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback who can run. Justin Fields is a running quarterback. There's a difference. And if I was an NFL GM, I would pick a quarterback who could also run. Put it in the comments. Tell me I'm full of shit. I'm still here. I'm still here just like I was when we were 3-13-1, folks. Glad to see Frozen Tundra Network in here. Glad to see Adarian West, A-Dub up in the house. Glad to see that. Love to see some Packer fans still repping their team. Steve, I don't know if you took the yeah off your name, but glad to see you back in here too.
It is nice to see Packer fans in here today.
For sure.
It's because, they've been getting a lot of bad rap for that, for leaving while their team is losing. And you should do that. You gotta measure up your wins and make sure that even as a Bear fan with only 5 wins, if you get another win, you gotta celebrate those wins. You got 7 days, folks. Go out there and rep your team. 7 days, you gotta win. It's hard to win in the NFL.
Sebastian's a Vikings fan. 1957, the last time the Lions had 10 wins, and the last time Chevy made a good car. Well, the Lions are owned by the Ford company, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you're who we're roasting there. I don't know.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay, good. Okay, I'm just making sure.
I was just ignoring you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good too. I just wanted to make sure that you were doing it on purpose.
Frozen Network. No, that is spot on. Running quarterbacks look to run first instead of move through his progressions, whereas QBs who can run look to pass through their progressions first to take off running if necessary. And I think that's what you've got in Jordan Love. The guy's athletic, he can move, but he's 100% a pocket passer. He looks so smooth in that 5-step drop. James says, didn't the Lions have 11 or 12 wins before? They did, actually. Wasn't it 12? In 91, they had 12 wins.
Yeah, I think they had 12 wins, and they had 11. I want to say in 2011. I think they had 11 with the Swartz.
James Janella, that's a familiar name. Grew up with some Janellas. Good old people right there.
Yeah, bear down, Mike, man. That's I feel good about that Chicago Bears, what they're doing there, because they got some picks and they got some good young talent that showed out. That's actually a pretty good defense now. They're really good against the run. I mean, for here and forward, from now and forward, young players, and most of them are under contract. Montez Sweat, feel good about that. I mean, that's a good move. It was too rich for a lot of teams' taste for what you paid for it, but you guys have plenty of draft picks. F those draft picks, right? You go out there, you got all that plethora of picks. You can't have 53 rookies on your team. You got to get some veterans in there.
Jeffrey Addison said Fields will be a huge weapon as a running back with an option to pass. Think about that. If they draft a good pocket passer who can carve you up and you just line Justin Fields up out there in the backfield, throw him a swing pass and he runs, right? Then the next one, you throw him a swing pass and now he could chuck the ball down the field to DJ Moore, catch the defense off guard, use the run to open that up. That would be great. And like I said, I would keep this guy on the team. He's too electric. You know what'll happen? They'll trade him or get rid of him, and he'll go on to be an incredible quarterback somewhere else. And that's got to be your fear if you're a Bear.
Yeah, I would definitely fear that with what they've had in the past. And you watch these guys that can go other places. It's like they're just not built. They've never really been built to have good quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? So they've always been built off defense and a running game. You know, and that's okay. That's definitely a style, but now they want to go into an era where they have a good quarterback. And this is going to be a year. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, Mike. That would be my first inkling as a Bear fan. You got an opportunity. I don't think they're going to miss on a top quarterback, or at least take a swing this time around. They can't do it again.
One thing you can count on, folks, is that the main event will be covering all of that. It's the main event 365 for a reason, because 365 days a year, Russ and I are putting out content about NFL football. We're talking about NFL football. And in the offseason, when the Super Bowl ends, a lot of podcast shows shut down. We do not. Instead, we pivot and we start looking at the draft, and we start looking at the combine. And we will have every day, you'll be looking, by the time the draft comes at the end of April, you will know every potential top prospect in the country, because we will have unearthed every little tidbit about them and put it out on content. So the season doesn't end at the Super Bowl for the NFL, and the season doesn't end at the main event either after the Super Bowl. There's so much content in this 365-day model that the NFL has built, and we just ride the coattails of it all year long. And it's going to be so interesting. I don't know much about Drake May. Do you, Russ? You know much about Drake May?
I don't. I
don't, but I can guarantee you we're gonna know everything about this kid by the time draft day comes.
But you know what's really cool about that, Mike, is like, even though a lot of these players, obviously only 1 out of 32 are going to make it onto our team, it helps you understand other teams that drafted these guys that you like Jaquan Brisker. You know how high I was on
both
him.
of us, and Carl Brooks.
Yeah, and we had these guys, and Gervin Dexter, and watching these guys go to these other teams.
And Tyreek Stevenson. These guys that the Bears drafted, these are all guys we liked, and we watched their highlights.
Yep. So. I love the guys that we drafted too. So, and it's like, so they get to live it vicariously the other way. But over 2-3 years of doing this, it's like, this is a good portion of the league that we have our pulse on at this point in time, after the third year doing this. It's like, as long as you put the work in, right? But, this is fun work. Doing research and development on all of these teams and learning about these teams this is great research.
Mm-hmm. Brent says that there's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft this year, and I've heard that as well, Brent. But until we go out and we do the research ourselves and know for ourselves, we're not going to put that out there that the Bears should draft Michael Penix or Drake May. Sure, I've seen these guys play a few times, but let's go look at their record. Who did they beat? How did they beat those guys? Let's go look at what do they do good. And there are a lot of guys out there on YouTube that are good at breaking down film. I'm not that guy. So I do have a couple of guys that I love to go to on YouTube and watch them break the film down. And we're able to glean information from those guys in the tape and form a pretty good, educated opinion on who's going to be a good draft pick. We knew C.J. Stroud was going to be a stud. We didn't know it was going to be to this extent.
Yeah, there was like 5 good quarterbacks that were touted, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, including one Hendon Hooker. Like,
there you go.
Get him in the 3rd round. It's like, who knows what he's going to be? Is he kind of like a forgotten commodity? Because people ain't really talking about it that much nationally,
right? Because
Jared Goff is playing so damn well,
right? And you've got to be able to hit in the later rounds, right? You got to be able to identify talent and hit in the later rounds. Brad Holmes, a great example of that. And this is what I was talking about for the Bears. You need to find that guy. Find that guy that knows how to evaluate talent, and he'll tell you which guy's the right quarterback.
And then you couple that with development. It's like this Brad Holmes with Dan Campbell, like, combination of development, because look at like Derek Barnes and Ifeatu Melifonwu, right? Those were 4th-round picks from the first regime, and his first foresight to see that this type of player is going to be able to develop after a couple of years of struggling, and to see that's amazing to me. To be able to see that, look at Derek Barnes in this breakout year. Look at Aleem McNeil in his breakout year, and now Ifeatu Melifonwu appears to be like they put him right back in that safety spot, and he seems to fit in perfectly at that spot because they know how to match talent with the coaching staff that develops the players in the way that they want to develop them. And that's good. And I think Ryan Poles can do that too. If he can get on the same page with Eberflus. And I've been giving Quessy a hard time, but obviously he got some young players that are playing above their heads from where they had. So this whole division, Gutekunst, I like what he did this offseason. You can put a couple red flags on a couple things that he did, but the way that he handled the trade with Aaron Rodgers and to pull the Band-Aid off the first year, they're going to be in a good spot next year with about $40 million in extra to work with this whole young talent. So this whole NFC North, dude, black and blue division, look out. Look out over the next 5 years.
And isn't the situation in Minnesota interesting? Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent. You had your chance and you didn't get him. Now he tears his Achilles. Minnesota needs a quarterback. Somebody's going to sign Kirk Cousins. If I were Minnesota, I would re-sign Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins, I'm sure, would probably even take – he might even play for $35 million.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that you could get a third-round pick out of trading Kirk Cousins? That'd be close, wouldn't it?
You can't trade Kirk Cousins.
No, what I'm saying, like if you traded Kirk Cousins just value-wise, forget that you can't do it, but let's say that you think that he'd be worth a third. Because
well, I don't know. That's a hypothetical that's not possible.
So, okay, the point that I'm making to that is if he just goes to free agency, they're going to get probably a third-round compensatory pick for Kirk Cousins if he leaves in free agency and signs a multi-year deal with the different team.
Mike says they could do a sign and trade. But I don't think so. I think he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, Mike. They have no control on him.
But my point to that wasn't whether they would trade him or not. My point was that could you just not re-sign him and just take the compensatory pick and not trade him and just let him go to free agency and you'll get the compensatory?
That's not true.
Why wouldn't you get it?
Because he's an unrestricted free agent. They only have control over him for 3 more games. When the final whistle blows on week 18 and they're not in the playoffs, they have his contract is done.
Right. So you get a compensatory pick if he leaves in free agency as an unrestricted free agent. Because it's called talent replacement value. That's why you get the compensatory pick. Is when you lose the players that had contracts. I don't know. It might be just draft.
I don't think so, bro. It's unrestricted.
Yeah, unrestricted free agents. Yes, unrestricted free agents.
You get nothing for him. You've got 3 games left to try to get something for him.
When you lose, but it might. I could be wrong on that.
But the trade deadline's over. The trade deadline's over. You can't do that either.
It's not a trade, Mike. It's not a trade. It's that's what you get when your players finish their contracts and you don't resign them. We got one for Sue.
Okay, then. Well, that's something I'm not familiar with.
But it might only be draft player. They didn't draft Kirk Cousins, so that might be a different deal. But I don't know. I think you can. I think you get it for free agents. They'll get a compensatory pick if Kirk signs with a different team. I'm pretty sure. Let's check that out. I wonder if somebody in the comments is already correcting me.
Well, Bear Down Mike says he's an unrestricted free agent. He has no ties at the end of the season to the team, And RFA get the draft picks if player leaves.
Yeah, I think that I'm sorry, guys, that I'm confusing you guys in the comments. I'm not
Restricted free agents.
Yeah, I'm not trying to confuse anybody here.
Kirk will be unrestricted.
Yes, and that is the point of what I'm saying. That is correct. That is the reason why I'm bringing it up, because he is an unrestricted free agent, and he wouldn't be traded. They're not going to trade him unless they sign and trade him, like Bear Down Mike says. So my point to bringing it up was they could get a compensatory pick for Kirk anyway if they let him walk.
Still, you've got uncertainty at the quarterback position in 2 out of 4 of the division teams. Lions and Green Bay, they know what they got. They're set. They got their quarterbacks for 2024 at least. The Bears remains to be seen. The Vikings remains to be seen. I think the Vikings will probably clean house with their quarterbacks. Mullins, Dobbs, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted Jaron Hall. They might keep him for development, but if I were them, I'd keep Dobbs. I mean, if you can get Dobbs on a deal for where he's your second stringer, I think he's a capable backup. I think the Bears have a capable backup in Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, I mean, and they do have Justin Fields. I mean, they'll make the decision to, keep him for the extra year. So they'll have Justin Fields. They ain't got to do nothing with him.
I mean, 2023 might be remembered as the year of the backup quarterback. I mean, there are so many backup quarterbacks playing right now. The list is huge. It's absolutely huge. You've got the New York Jets, the New York Giants, Las Vegas Raiders, Cincinnati Bengals, Minnesota Vikings, Indianapolis Colts. They're all the Cleveland Browns. They're all playing backup quarterbacks. Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, man, we can just keep on going. And we're not talking about the ones that have been out this year, like Chicago and Seattle. They at least have their starters back now. I'm saying right now, the amount of backup quarterbacks playing is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I would say the Lions have a better backup quarterback. Because what are you comparing Clifford to Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah,
that's not even close.
Unproven for Clifford. I mean,
yeah,
right now, I can't give it to Clifford. No,
you can. I mean, you couldn't give it to Clifford unless you're a Green Bay Packers slappy. Teddy Bridgewater has won games in this league. Let's see, Bears.
Bear Down Mike pointing out that at least Tyson Bagent has seen the field. I think Bear Down Mike is pointing to the fact, how can you even suggest Sean Clifford's better than any of the backups in this division when he hasn't played an NFL down?
And Steve says, I was thinking Hooker. I mean, Hooker was a way better college quarterback.
Okay. Now we're talking apples to apples, though. Now we're talking about college quarterbacks who've never played an NFL game. I like Hooker's upside more than Sean Clifford, but we like Sean Clifford coming out of Penn State too, Russ. Yeah. I mean, we thought that was a good pick.
I got no problem. Clifford could be a good quarterback. I mean, I argue that he could, at the beginning of the season, that he could push against Jordan Love, and you never know. I mean, sometimes you draft these guys, you never know if you have 2 studs on your team.
Hendon Hooker was barreling towards a Heisman Trophy when he blew out his knee, by the way.
And they said they like the way that this kid is already practicing too. He throws a pretty ball. He was a career over 70% completion.
Yes.
In college.
Yes. And he's a quarterback who can run, not a running quarterback.
6'3", 225. He'll probably play at 230. That's like Dante Culpepper size.
Right, and that's all going to, I think, when Hooker plays, is all going to be determined by how far Goff takes us this year.
I said Dante Culpepper like it was something. Oh, gosh, Mike. What am I going to do?
All right, so here's a good one. So Bear Down Mike, to shed a little light, a restricted free agent will be Jalen Johnson, which means the Bears will probably match whatever offer he gets out there. But if they can't match it, they'll get a compensatory pick.
Oh, look at Clarence White right here. I like this right there. I think you're going to see a string of newbies Lions players getting record stats this year, making NFL history, and that's what I see. Look at St. James. I think he's meaning St. Brown and tight end stats. Are you serious? At tight end, getting NFL stats mentioned. Yeah.
Thanks for the
like
comment,
that.
Clarence.
What's that?
I said thanks for the comment, Clarence. Clarence was my grandfather's name.
I like that.
Turkisa says, Lions, baby. Woohoo!
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad to see you come out there. This is a great eating crow moment for John Kapler. I love it. I love it.
Oh, on the show I missed, did John come on and say the Lions were going to lose?
He didn't come on, but he definitely was worried. I'm glad to see that you were wrong on that and that we could all get back on the same page here. And I love that. I love that. I love somebody that can come onto a show and eat the crow if they're wrong. You know, we talk a lot of shit on here, but we do when it's wrong.
I had to put Adam in timeout.
Why?
Oh, he's getting he's losing his couth in the comments.
Oh, what is that? Is Adam what kind of fan is Adam?
I think he's just a troll.
Oh, is he a fan of a different team?
I don't know. All he does is come in here and talk nonsense. He doesn't even talk about football.
Oh.
Thanks for watching, Adam.
Is he like a Jehovah's Witness, but for football talk?
I would never bash someone's religion.
What? Oh, I guess I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. If
Damn right you should.
I'm sorry about that. I what I was speaking of is more of the approach. I apologize for being insensitive with that comment right there, and I actually mean that. I'm not being. I was. That was me just opening up my mouth bad. Sorry.
John Kapler says, I don't know where these players figured out how to play like that after the last 5 to 6 weeks, but please play the same the next 6 weeks. I love how he says 6 weeks. 3 weeks left in the season. Yeah, play this way for another. How about 7 weeks?
I see what you did there, John.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, John.
And you know what? And I want to answer that, John Kapler. This is what you get when you have a team that has a whole bunch of young players on defense, where there's no real. I mean, when Aiden Hutchinson, a third-year or second-year player, is like one of your leaders, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get these guys up to speed. Guys like Jack Campbell, guys like Iffy, like they had to figure out what the right recipe was for this Aaron Glenn defense. And they were still playing with pieces. I was telling you about that, Mike, last week when I was looking at the snap counts. And we'll get into this a little bit tomorrow, too, with the PFF. But you're watching them work these guys in, John, and you're watching him try to find out which is going to be the best or best players to be within this scheme from, 1 to 3 with the backups and everything. And I think that he's starting to figure it out. There was a couple pieces that were missing, over the last 6 weeks. They were getting beat deep. That's like one style of thing that was wrong that they had to figure out. And Iffy may have been the missing piece. Josh Paschal got thrown into the spot that Aleem McNeil usually plays a lot yesterday. That proved to be a really, really good move. So, over the last weeks, it's the teams that get it together. They get it together at the end and they go on this run. Like you said, 6 games. This is the time to get hot. You can have some down games from week, 10, 13, right? You just don't want to be down and, run out of gas week 17, week 18.
Yeah, and I think that's it right there. The last 2 weeks is when you want to be the hottest team going into the playoffs. And Fred, I agree with you. It's a terrible call. I can't figure that one out either.
What?
Oh, a comment about on an offsides call against the Broncos in the Broncos-Lions game. Didn't see anything on that offsides call. Can you tell me what the offsides penalty was against the Broncos? Can you comment on that, Russ?
Yeah, it's that that thing that Patrick Mahomes was bitching about, that they were getting off. They're not letting it go anymore. They called it not only in that game, they called it a couple other times in 2 other games later on in that game. They got to line up on the right spot. They all have to be in their the ones that are supposed to be off the line are supposed to be off the line. They can only have a certain amount of guys in there. You were complaining about it during that first game. That may be in a little bit of a different situation, but it's the same type of principle where they weren't calling that shit. You got to get lined up right. It was the correct call, even though it's a shitty call, if that makes any sense.
I do got to get off of here now. Russ, hey, thanks for having me on. Don't forget, everybody, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, same bat channel. God bless each and every one of you.
That's awesome. Main Event Mike, thank you. Hopefully they get on there tonight. The center was over the line. Yep, that's what it comes down to. That's what Jerome says. The center was over the line. Here's the thing. It's like those close calls, right? Sometimes it's just a close call that doesn't go your way. But, I mean, kudos to the Lions for playing through that anyway. They had a whole bunch of situations that were like that in that game. They were having trouble getting off the field on 3rd down. And last week, they seem to have figured that out. You got to tighten up when you get these people on 3rd and long type of situations. I'm not saying that the Bears got lucky last week, but when you get a team into a lot of 3rd and longs, unless you got a special player like Justin Fields that knows how to extend plays and do stuff like that, you usually don't hit on that many of them. 4th and 13, scoring a touchdown. That's you won the game. You deserve to get the win. I'm not taking anything away from the win, but that type of play isn't something that is sustainable and you can't count on it. Not that it doesn't count, but if you're looking at stats, sometimes there's some things that come from the outside that are just kind of like anomaly things. And you can't count on teams to go for it on 4th and 13 all the time in that type of situation. So this week was a little bit different, where they got into these 3rd and long situations and they were able to close those deals, where they were able to do that against Russell Wilson, where they weren't able to do it against Justin Fields. So sometimes it's just a matter of a millisecond. Right, John Kapler? Brett Peterson. From the side view, it seemed like they lined up correctly. Okay. I mean, so maybe it was a bad call. Maybe it was a bad call. I think the pass interference on Anzalone was a bad call. Because if you're running through and they over shoot the ball, he had his hands up in the surrender position. He doesn't have to stop his momentum going where it is, even if the receiver wants to stop and go make a play because the ball was underthrown. That's not Anzalone's fault. He doesn't have the right to go through the player, especially when he has his hands up. But it is. It is. It is what it is. Let's see. Agreed, Fred. Okay. So, Brent, we believe that we got away with one right there, huh? On the offsides on Denver? What else? Steve, John. Tom Grossi blew up. I've never seen that before with him. John Kapler says that true, but it was a collection of togetherness and just playing a Broncos team who isn't good, though. Remember that we played, keep in mind, not to be a hater, as my haters say about me. Let's put it this way. If you guys are out there right now and you're trying to minimize this win against this Broncos team was one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They'd won 7 of 8 games, and you can't minimize that win. That was the Lions defeating a bunch of different stereotypes that people say that you can't. For one, you have a mobile quarterback in Russell Wilson, and they were able to stop him. Number 2, you don't do well against these good teams. Jared Goff is a turnover machine, and he can't get better. That was another thing that was defeated in that. He played mistake-free football against the team that was turning over teams more than any other team in the NFL. So they defeated a couple of those narratives with this game, and they just need to keep doing it. You know, I mean, they win this game against the Minnesota Vikings this weekend, then they defeat that narrative. They win the North. That's what they would do. Now, it's possible that they don't. Minnesota's a good team. Minnesota's playing good defense. And if you don't think that Minnesota's a good team, then you ain't been watching them. I was wrong on this team on how they play defense, at least. Brian Flores got these guys playing. Bunch of nobodies and never will be's, and he's made them play together, and you got a good defense after getting rid of a bunch of players. Kudos for putting it together. O'Connell put it together. Seems 7-7 with a shot. You win out, Lions win out, then you guys still win the division. Like, that's a reality for a Lion fan. That could happen, but the Lions could just keep playing the way they're playing good. Did they get out of a rut? Are the Lions starting a new trend of playing good? Did they figure some stuff out? Is having Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs, is that too lethal? Lions might have 2 1,000-yard rushers. That's lethal. I believe the identity of this Detroit Lions team is that the defense is the offense. That this offense will go out there to take your heart out. To take your heart out. And then the defense is there to clean it up, force turnovers, and get the opponents way behind the 8 ball. And it really played out in that game. Dan Campbell out-coaching his mentor. Taking that step. That's a big step. That's a big step. That was a big signature win for Dan Campbell right there. If you think that it's same old Lions, it's like you ain't been watching, or you can't, and you're not really looking at reality right now. You are not looking at reality. They've already defeated a bunch of those same olds. This is a good, tough team that's going to be tough down the stretch to beat when it comes to playoffs. You know, it could be same old. It might end in a playoff loss, and then I'll be in here, and that's fine. That's the name of the game. We want to do that smack talking. We want to do it in a cool way, and I'm gonna get out of here because I want to save some of the smack talking. Do that smack talking to Mike Abraham tonight. Open mic. The open mic. Let me see. I'll find my open mic in here. It's the open mic tonight. 7 p.m. with Main Event Mike. I want to see all the Packer fans. You still love your team? You're going to be in there tonight? You're going to represent your team tonight? Or are you going to be ghosting like the last few weeks? Packer fans are lucky they got guys like Steve is real, yeah. A-Dub representing. Are you a Bear fan? You going to be ghosting tonight? You ain't going to represent your team because they lost? I know Bear Down Mike will be there. Greatest Chicago Bear fan ever. Shoot, he's even a better fan than Mike the Bear fan. The guy who runs the damn page. He shows up week after week after week. That's good. Viking fan, Sarah. Put a shout out to my girl, Sarah, the Vike Queen. She represents her team regardless. Even if she's got to go clean out her storage unit. She's representing her team regardless. So come in. Represent your team tonight. NFC North open mic. Let me get this graphic up there for you. With Main Event Mike tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Come in and represent your team. Lion fans, we need to unite. We're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lion News. We're broadcasting live in the Villain Squad. We need the Lions fans to represent. I'm throwing up the signal. Like the bat signal goes into there. It's like a lion, right? But not the bat. Instead, it's a lion. Throwing it up. We want to see you tonight. We want to see you tonight. But may the Lord bless you guys. And may the Lord keep you. And may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tonight for NFC North Open Mic. Thanks for watching. It reminds me of a football show, Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 11 a.m. in the mornings. You should watch it because it could be good for you. It could be good for you. It could be good for your life.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.